What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. Alright, so we're going to start this one off with an update from Wesley Vissers, and Wesley posted these shots at 26 days out of the Arnold Ohio. It's really hard to believe that it's coming up that fast, but man, Wesley is a competitor. He's always been known for his overall shape. Traditionally, he's not as well known for his overall detail, especially in the lower body. Now, striations through the upper body? Absolutely. But if you guys look closely with these updated pictures, I think we are starting to see detail in the quads that we really haven't seen from Wesley before. We know we're seeing more detail in the back shots than we've seen in previous competition preps, but to really bring out the detail in the quads, I think is showing us that Wesley is reaching that elite level of conditioning that really separates, the top 5 or top 6 at these elite level shows like the Arnold Ohio. So based on what we're seeing here, I am very optimistic that an improved version of Wesley Vissers is going to have a legit shot at knocking out some very big names in Classic. I mean, let's just take another look at the lineup here. Realistically, I think I could see him defeating guys like Michael DeBull. I could even see him defeating Breon Ainsley this time around. Now, past that, in fairness, it is going to be very tough competition to knock out. Terrence Ruffin, Urs Kalasinski, and of course Ramon Dino. All of these guys are being heavily rewarded in Classic as of right now. So the question is, can this new improved version of Wesley Vissers continue to move up the ranks in Classic Physique? And if he can, where can he push past these guys? In my opinion, if all things are equal in the conditioning department, Wesley's classic lines, overall shape, and golden era presentation can really move him up in the ranks. So let me know in the comments below how high you guys think Wesley can place in this lineup. Alright, next up, James Hollingshead is continuing to drop update shots that are easily the best shots that we've ever seen from James going into a competition. Now, Milos actually said it himself on the latest episode of the Menace Podcast. James is ready now. He could walk on stage basically this weekend and be ready. Now, James was also a guest on that latest Menace Podcast, and he spoke a little bit about his mindset going into the competition and where he thinks he can stack up in a very stacked Arnold lineup. Check it out here.
I think I can win. And in other days I might not feel that way, but I know it's just part of the parcel because some days are better than others. So I just roll with it. The days where I don't feel like I can win, I make sure I do what I can to try and reconvince myself I can win. I know it's a crazy lineup. Huddy is Mr. Olympia. Samson is an absolute monster. But we all have our strengths, and I respect my own strengths, and I've learned to appreciate my own strengths. And if my strengths are what people like on the day, then there's no reason why I can't do very well. How well? That's down to the judges. So,
and given how James looks right now, this is the attitude that I would expect from him. He's going in with the attitude that he can win the show. It's really the only way that he can bring his best to the stage, and it does look like James is going to bring his best. This is his first round working with Milos for a competition prep, but their collaborative efforts, I think, have a really good chance for them to nail that peak the first time around. So James was one thing here, but that wasn't the only interesting point on this episode of the Menace Podcast. Chris Cormier offered some more insight on NeckZilla's reasoning for pulling out of the Arnold. Now, according to NeckZilla, it was due to visa issues and what he called his readiness. But Chris Cormier elaborates on those points a bit more, and the reasons may not have been exactly what they originally seemed. Check it out here.
How long have you known that he's not doing it? Be honest.
Well, I know he was cleaned out, and I know he wasn't on anything when he was making these posts.
So, but what was the reason for him it's not coming to TJ to train?
He was on vacation still. I don't know.
Okay.
I know he spent a long time away from his family, and I think when he went back, he spent a lot of time with his family. So,
but who's helping him with the paperwork and stuff? Because I know he obviously can't do it by himself.
Well, I was helping him. I was going to vouch for him to be here in America, but I'm not going to pay my own money to make it all happen. So
yeah, for sure.
That's where it's going. It's got to be paid.
So his sponsor didn't want him to come here to compete?
Yeah, but I mean, wanting and
doing.
It's just not paid. That's all I got to say.
So, Rubiel is still on vacation, it would seem. And you know, it did seem like he knew for quite some time that he wasn't going to compete. He's cleaned his body out according to Chris Cormier, and it kind of seems like although Chris is offering a fair bit of help to NeckZilla, you know, posing practice, strategy for picking shows, being a sponsor or whatever for his actual visa application, just from the way Chris spoke, it kind of made me feel like NeckZilla, you know, maybe doesn't want all this help from Chris at this point. And you know, that's just my own interpretation. I honestly do not know the dynamic of their personal or professional relationship, but clearly Rubiel has other plans right now, and those plans do not include competition. So I doubt that we'll see him at the New York Pro either, really. And yeah, if I was Chris, there is no way in hell that I'd be spending my own money on stuff like that either. That's not his financial responsibility. But look, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is NeckZilla missing out on capitalizing on his momentum by skipping the Arnold? You guys let me know below. Alright, so last up, and this is not a topic I thought would come up in conversation here on this channel, but Nick Trigili posted on his Instagram some old posing footage of him from back in 2015, and he asks his followers on that post if they think that he could compete again, and he says that he actually thinks it's time. Now, the poll numbers from what Nick had here, of course, were in overall favor of him competing again. But how realistic is this to actually happen? I mean, Nick is around my age, I believe. He's in his mid-30s or so. He's currently sitting at 230 pounds. And look, Nick does look good right now. He's very lean. He's sorted out some health issues that he's had recently. There's no question with all of those things. But you know, previous to getting his health back on track, Nick had suffered from stomach problems for quite some time. A couple of years, actually, if I'm not mistaken. And he only recently got those stomach problems dealt with. So presumably, Nick would not be able to push the food like he really used to. Now, he's always maintained that his goal was to compete in a pro show as an IFBB pro. He accomplished that back in August 2015, where he took 6th place at the Europa Atlantic City Pro. Fun fact, actually, Branch Warren won that show, and Cedric McMillan took 2nd in that show. And yeah, Nick has always said that he was satisfied with his pro career after competing in a pro show. Nick looked good in his competition days, and I think given his current level of knowledge and his age, he could do things smarter than he did before. Probably get more out of doing a bit less of, you know, everything. But realistically, could Nick get back in shape and win a pro show in 2024? Now, I really don't think in the open division that he could do it. In Classic, that might be tough as well. Classic is a really stacked division these days. And yeah, I just don't see Nick going for men's physique. And you know, I'll leave it at that. But this could have just been Nick trying to stir up some conversation. And you know, it is an interesting conversation to have. It would definitely be entertaining to see it happen. But yeah, look, you guys let me know in the comments below if you guys can see Nick getting back on stage. And how do you think he would do in this current era of professional bodybuilding? Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.